Hello and welcome to Dice Tabletop. My name is Chris and I am very excited to share with you. I've had a package delivered. It is the first 2 episodes of the new Combat Patrol magazine. In the first one, we've got a Space Marine Terminator Captain, we've got a Tyranid Wing Prime, and then in the second magazine, we have got 3 Von Ryan Leapers. So if you are new to this and you just want a little bit of guidance on how to get involved and what it is you're meant to do, please stick around because this video is aimed at you. So for those of you who are not aware of what this is a new series put out by Hatchet Partworks where you are able to collect 9 different combat patrols in total. So, straight out of the gates, we've got a nice pair of clippers and mold line removers. So let's get stuck straight in now and see what is happening in the first issue. We have got what is a really nice battle mat to play on. Actually, this is 2-sided. I thought about opening this up, but it's a bit too big. There's also an industrial themed side on the back. Next up, the most important part of all of these magazines, it's the models that the issues come with. So as I say, we've got a Terminator Captain here, and we've also got a Winged Tyranid Prime. Looks like they've done a custom sprue just to put these 2 together. Really good quality. As with most of these are push-fit design, so we'll come on to a little bit later what that means. We've also got 6 dice included, and I gotta say, these are some really nice quality dice, to be fair. For 6 free little dice included, you cannot go wrong. Okay, what have we actually got here then with the magazine itself? So we've got issue 1, all about our Space Marine Captain and Tyranid Wing Prime, as well as we've got a poster here, as well as what is coming up on the Combat Patrol series. So this is a really cool battle scene of all of our Space Marines and Tyranids having a big fight, which of course is very apt right now. I have been very much indulging in Space Marine 2. I hope all of you lot have been as well. So let's take a look at what we get. So I am paying for the premium subscription here. It works out to be an extra £2 per magazine, so in total these will end up price creeping to $11.99 a magazine. I think it ends up costing around about, like, I think I read something online, it's like either 900 quid in total, and it works out to like £1,1300 worth of models. But if we are a premium subscriber, we do get some really nice extra editions, and the one I'm really looking forward to is this Chaos Demon Prince. That is going to make a great addition to my existing army. Other little free subscriber gifts that we're going to get, we've just had our clippers and mold line remover tools. We're going to get some brushes here, some binders. Quite looking forward to getting a mug. I need a new mug for work. As well as that, I'm not too sure, but I think we might get a limited edition Primaris Captain, which is unique to Combat Patrol. I did take a look online and I couldn't see that model on their website, but please correct me if I am wrong. So let's take a look at what we are going to get here in total. We've got Space Marines, Tyranids, League of Votan, Eldari, Strata Militarum, Gene Stealer Cults, Orcs, Chaos Space Marines, and World Eaters. There are some really great models in here and armies that I have never collected before in my entire 25 plus years of being involved in the Warhammer universe. We're also going to get all of the paint that we need to get all of these looking great on the tabletop, and a good selection of 4 brushes that will be included as well. Let's jump straight in then and take a look at these first 2 magazines. Starting off, we've got a really quick guide here on how to build things. If you are new, please read these, but we will be going through them as we make our first model later on. We've got some guides here then about using the mold line remover, as well as the instructions on how to build our Space Marine Captain, as well as the Winged Prime. Moving along is our introduction into the world of 40k and the factions you are going to face: the Imperium, the Armies of Chaos, as well as the Xenos forces. Moving forward then, we've just got a nice little explanation all about Space Marines, going more into depth about them, their type of role and combat engagement, and we've got the same then for the Tyranids as well. Each magazine encourages you to put a theme and a story behind your army, and they help you to do that with the simple roles. As you can see, they're 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and they have some base profiles outlined and just adds a bit more character and fleshes out the game a little bit more, really adding to the narrative. Moving onwards then, they throw you straight into a small little game using the 2 models that you've just built from the magazine. It's a simple melee scenario, and it fully explains what all the dice rolls mean. Let's take a quick look now at the second issue before we move on and get to building these. So we have got these Von Ryan Leapers. Tyranids is not a force that I've collected before, so I'm really looking forward to getting the Combat Patrol for this. We've got our instruction here on how to build our models, as well as an introduction into the painting side of things that we're going to be incorporating later on. Next up, we've got some expansion upon who these factions are that we're playing as, focusing again on the Imperium and the Tyranids for these issues. Moving on, we've got our Von Ryan Leapers, a little bit of information about them, naming the unit, their data sheet, a little bit of function then about how it is that they work and operate. And then to finish up, we've got our scenario where our 3 Von Ryan Leapers are facing off against our Space Marine Captain. Okay, let's go and get these built. I'm going to be using the clippers and mold line remover tool that came with the subscriber edition. This is so that I can best replicate what you would be experiencing for the first time if you are just getting into this. These snips are not too bad, actually. For a free subscriber bonus, they'll adequately do. And I've always wanted to have a little mold line remover tool as well, so I've actually fallen in love with this, and I don't know why I haven't had one sooner. So these are great little things to be working with. Now, if you don't have a pair of snips like this, please, you are going to need to go out and get them. Don't use scissors. Do not push these models out of the sprue. You'll break them. They don't work like that. Unfortunately, you are going to need a little tool like this to really comfortably get them off the sprues. As I mentioned earlier, if you are new to this, please take the time to read these instructions. Here it explains how to use the snips properly. I know it might sound silly, but there is a correct way, as well as the mold line remover tool. Following these are going to ensure that you get the best finish on your model. Now, these models are push fit, but I'm going to be using some glue anyway, and this is because just old habits die hard with me, and also if you are using glue, I'll show you a little bit on how to correctly use that as well. Right, so to make it nice and simple, separate the 2 sprues. We are going to be using the flat back side of the snip, push that up close against the piece on the sprue that you're trying to cut off. You should be able to really easily differentiate between what the sprue part is and what actually the model part itself is. Try and cut the sprue off as close as you can to the model itself. Once you're done, take a look over. They are kind of hard to see. Games Workshop's got a lot better at these recently, but as you can see there is a mold line. What we are doing is we are using this tool at a 45-degree angle, applying sufficient enough pressure, not too hard as to actually gouge the plastic, but what we want to do is just allow the tool to catch that thin raised line and remove it to bring it flush with the surrounding area. So here we have the 3 individual body parts all trimmed up and ready to go together. So the great thing about push fit is that they are purposely designed so that they will only go together one way. You shouldn't really need to force these models at all, other than just beyond the slight plastic friction of pushing pins into holes. Typically, if it doesn't line up, it doesn't go there, do not force it. So here we understand where the back goes onto the front here, so I am just going to put a very thin line of glue all around this seam where the 2 pieces connect, just to create a nice little bond between the 2 parts. I'm also putting some glue on the little pin at the back, as well as where the armour intersects around about the shoulder to side of the torso area. Now, if you're not using glue, you do not need to do this step at all. Merely that middle piece, press into the front, and then you can bring the cape part, push the pin into the receiving hole, and the 3 parts will all interlock together. Next, we are assembling the sword arm, and to do this we have the arm itself, and then we have a shoulder pad. The shoulder pad is that lock then for the arm to stay onto the torso. So being careful, we are using the back of our snips to take the part away from the sprue, and then using our mold line remover tool just to pick up any of those mold lines that may be on the model. With the 2 parts cleaned up, we can see now just quickly how they go together. That shoulder pad will only go on in one position, as is much of the design of push fit. And as you can see, you just simply push it on top of that shoulder pin there, and it'll all go into place. I haven't fully clamped it down there just because I want to take it back off and glue it on to make sure it doesn't ever fall off in the future. These push pins are usually pretty good at staying together for a while, but I did have on one of the Von Ryan Leapers, there was a sort of a loose joint which wouldn't have properly stayed together if you didn't have some glue on it. So I would really recommend going out, maybe not for now, but if you're carrying on with these magazines, go out and get yourself some dedicated plastic glue. Next is his gun arm, and as you can see here, we need to assemble the gun first before we then go and attach it onto the torso. So let's take that arm off, and there's also another side of that gun that we need to clean up as well and get those all stuck together. With that gun arm now made, we need to get the shoulder pad ready so it can lock onto the torso. Once we've got that all snipped off and cleaned up, we can press them together and attach it onto the torso itself. Right, that's looking rather impressive. I've not had a Space Marine Captain before, and I'm so far loving this model. Let's move on and get the feet and head assembled. We go and snip them off. Now be very careful. These pins that you can see on the bottom of the feet go into the base. We want to be leaving those. If you cut those off without glue, there won't be any way for the model to stick to the base itself. Next up then, let's get the head attached. Now just be careful with this. It is a little bit fiddly to get pushed onto the pin. The last thing left for us to do then is to get this attached to the base itself. Now within the world of Warhammer, this is what we call a tactical rock. Any important figure needs to be stood on a rock just so everybody knows of its importance. Now when we're pushing things into bases, there is normally a lot more resistance in the parts themselves, so just be careful not to apply too much pressure to any part that might break off. Then once we've got the tactical rock applied, we then come in with our Space Marine Captain, slide him gently into the holes there for the feet, and here we have it. You have made your first model. Welcome to the world of Warhammer. Now, disgracefully, Space Marines is not a faction I've actually really ever paid much attention to. I've been so much more interested in the other ones, but I love this sculpt. I'm really looking forward to getting this captain painted. Now that you've successfully built your first model, you are all equipped to now deal with the Winged Prime. Just make sure to read these instructions. There are little things that you need to do before other bits. Things tend to go on better in a certain order. You just have more accessibility, especially when it comes to Tyranids, wings, arms. They've got so many appendages that are everywhere. Sometimes, like here, I believe you had to put the wing on before you put the arm just to make it a lot more easier. So with that completed then as well, which is another fantastic sculpt, these two are ready and you are ready to have your very first game. Lastly then, let's get our Von Ryan Leapers made. I'm not going to be going through and doing a full instruction breakdown like I've just done. You are now a pro at getting these done. Just follow the instructions like the Wing Prime. There are things to do in a certain order just to make it a little bit easier. As well as that, there is a side mouthpiece that goes with each one of these models. They are a little bit fiddly. They can be delicate. Be careful when you're pushing them on. I managed to slightly bend one of the fangs. Thankfully, it didn't break off though. So just take your time, be patient and enjoy. So if you are new to Combat Patrol and Warhammer in general, I hope you found this video helpful. I'm probably going to do a follow-up later on when we get some paints through of just painting this Space Marine Captain and Wing Prime, because I'm really looking forward to getting those done anyway, so why not make a video and help you guys out. Coming up next is going to be the video of getting the armor panels for the Warlord Titan painted, and that way then we are going to be nearing the end of our first leg of that behemoth. If you're new to the channel, make sure you check that out. That is really something that you are not going to want to miss. So thank you ever so much for watching. Please, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel and make sure that you like this video. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.